yesterday a Mishnah. The guy goes ahead and he says that he takes two sets of food, places one in the east, one in the west, and he says whichever one my Rebbe comes to, it should be my what? It should be my shvisa. It should be my. So if you say yesh breira, it's kaina. He said it worked. He said if the tax collector is coming from the right, my thing should be the left, or vice versa. It works because breira. Now what's breira? Breira is that right now when I say something, it's not clear as to what I mean or where it is. That's going to become clearer at a later date. So let's make a distinction between breira and a condition. My Chabrusa this morning mentioned that what's the difference between breira and a tanai? Make it tanai. So let me give you an example and think about the difference. You want to go the difference between breira and a tanai. Classic tanai. This is, you give a woman a get and you say, this is your get, al manas, that I don't show up for 30 days. And I don't show up for 30 days. I show up day 31. So if I said me achshav, it's a get from when I gave it. If I did say me achshav, it's a get mikam haba. It's a get after 30 days. The chalois was the get there was never a shaila on the get. The shaila was whether the get would be a get or not be a get. But there never was a shaila on the get. The get is being given. I know who I'm giving it to, and I know and now the question is whether the get will be chal or not be chal. That's as opposed to, let me give you a case of get. A guy goes to a cipher. He says, I got two women who have the same name. Now, write a get for my wife, Harriet. I got two Harriets, write a get for my wife, Harriet. Good? Whichever one I give to, that clarifies that when you wrote the get, you wrote it for this Harriet. That's very different than a condition, because when you gave it, it wasn't clear whether it was or it wasn't. If you give a get on a condition, it's a get. The question is whether there be a chalais to the get or not. Over here, the question is, can it shaf a get? Can it make it a get? Can breira make the thing happen? Can breira make the fact that I want to go to the left or the right? Can breira the next day say that it clarifies and say the day before when I did something, this is what it meant? If you give a get and 30 days later, it doesn't clarify that whether it was a get or not. It's not clarity. We know it's a get. The question is whether she's divorced or not. It's a conditional thing. That's a condition. Whether it's breira is not conditional. Breira is my action later on will retroactively show what I meant. And we'll see that this throughout the sugya, particularly in two instances, okay? So let's begin. We said yesterday the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda said if the Rebbe comes to the right, comes to the left, that will take precedence over his friend, okay? Now we're up to the two dots, Rabbanon. The Rabbanon, Zimnin de Nichle Bechavre, Tvei Rabbe. The Rabbanon who argue and say if his friend comes from the left and his Rebbe comes from the right, that what? It doesn't, you could say on Lamed Vav Amid Beis. Lamed Vav Amid Beis, it's the two dots. Pierce the Gemara. Then the Chum say, 1 second. Sometimes maybe he wants to spend some time with his friend rather than spend some time with his Rebbe. And therefore what we would say, we would still say breira. And we don't say that that the Rebbe takes prominence. Amarav, lesser l'masnisan. Our Mishnah said that Rabbi Yehuda said, if your Rebbe comes from this place, then we don't say breira, but we say you're going to your Rebbe. And we don't say you're going to the other side, whichever side your Rebbe is coming from. However, Rav had a Messiah from Ayai, different than our Mishnah. And he says that takes prominence over our Mishnah. Amar Rav, less l'masnisan. Our Masnisha is not correct. Midetani Ayah, from the Bais of Ayah. The Tani Ayah is the name of a person. Rabbi Yehuda Oiner, Ein Adam Masna al Shnei Devarim Ke'echad. A person cannot go ahead and say breira. You can't make two conditions. Ella, im ba'chacham leMizrach, eruva leMizrach. Then ba'chacham leMayriv, eruva leMayriv. So in other words, you don't say it's Huvra Adav, I'm afraid, which way the Chacham comes to, that's where you want it. You say only one or the other. You can't go two. Why? Because you hold Ein Breira. So it comes out like this. Our mission that we have in front of us, like Rabbi Yehuda, Yesh Breira. Because if you had equal people, then your action on Shabbos can decide retroactively where your Erev was. That's Breira. However, that was his case. Daya says, no, you can't do it. Pick a direction. If you pick the right, and your Rebbe is gonna show up to the right, your Rebbe's that's it. If you pick the left, your Rebbe shows left, but you can't pick both because Ein Breira. So says Rav, Rabbi Yehuda holds Ein Breira. Our Mishnah says Yesh Breira. Rabbi Yehuda holds what? Ein Breira. Now, Ashlei Dvarim Kechan. El Im Ba Chacham LeMizrach Eruv LeMizrach Ba Chacham LeMayrav Eruv LeMayrav. Avol Lekan Ulekan Loy not. Now, Maishno Lekan Lekan Deloy Ein Breira. If you pick both sides, Ein Breira. Mizrach Harami Nami Ein Breira. Guys, here's the happening in the Gemara. Listen to the case. I'm putting my Erev now down. I'm putting my Erev down in one or two places. I'm putting it in the east. Good. I'm putting it in the west. If the Rebbe comes, I can't go say both, but whichever one your Rebbe comes to, that'll be your Shvisa. That's also Breira. When I put it down there, it wasn't clear at the time when I put it down there, right? Good. I don't have a double option. But the place I put it down to wasn't clear. But what happens if the Rebbe wouldn't come there? It won't be kind of Shvisa. So said Rav din and Daya two dinim. Lakan to say east and west, and whichever the Rebbe comes to, that we won't say. But if you put it in the east and the Rebbe comes to the east, that you would say. Why would you say that? It's also Breira, because the Rebbe's not there yet. You had no way of knowing the Rebbe's going to come. It's only the Rebbe arriving in the east that made it, you were kind of Shvisa in the east. So that's Vaita Breira.
Why the Rebbe? He put it,
the Rebbe wasn't there yet.
So what is that?
It's not a condition. He said, here's what he said. He put it over here, and he said, he didn't say, this is an Erev on the condition my Rebbe shows up. He says, this is an Erev. If my Rebbe, whichever direction my Rebbe comes, that it should be there.
No, but it's not over there.
No, Makami comes in, he puts in two directions. So here he's putting it in the Ma'ariv, right? He's putting it in the east. He goes, if my Rebbe comes to the west, then this in the east won't be an Erev. But if my Rebbe comes to the east, it will be an Erev. When is the Chalais? That's Breira. So that's Breira. So in other words, either way, look at Rashi, guys. Look at Rashi. Lamid Vav Amid base. Before it gets wide, about the semi-wide lines, about 6 lines up. Mizrach Ma'ariv Nami b'shaloi bo ela echad. Even if only one comes, because South Gedaita Chashta the Bein Hashmashos Adayin le'bo Chacham leMizrach. He hadn't come yet. She'adayin ha'yarachik min ha'erev. He was a distance away. Shisha alaf pakash be'amos u'mishachashecha halach alpayim v'nichnas toich abayim alfum shel ir v'zeh sheniach Eruvin v'toled b'das ha'chacham. He said it's totally in the Chacham v'amar im yavoy leMizrach Eruvin leMizrach v'im lo yavoy loy lekan v'loy lekan. And if he doesn't come, then it's not either way. But still, it's totally in the das of the Chacham coming. That's Breira. So Fred the Gemara, what's the difference? 2 sides or 1 side? Once you make it totally in somebody else, that's Breira. So that's the Gemara's kasha. So back inside, says the Gemara one more time. Amarav less l'masisa midatani dayai. Mishnah says that Rabbi Yehuda holds a Breira. I'll show you he doesn't. The Tani Ayai, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Eina the Masna al Shnei Devarim Ke'echad, Ella in Bo Chacham leMizrach Eruvin leMizrach, in Bo Chacham leMayrav Eruvin leMayrav. And if he doesn't come to either one, then what? It's neither. Aval lekan lekan loy. Ma'ishno lekan lekan loy. They ain't Breira. LeMizrach Mami Nami ain't Breira. When my Rebbe comes, it's Hovra. When the Rebbe shows up, that's where I want it to be. Avrami. It's when the Rebbe shows up, it's Hovra Hadavra. That when I put it there, that's where I want my Erev to be. So again, so I'm Rabbi Yochanan Ukfar Bo Chacham. He was there. That's not Breira anymore. That's a condition. That's a condition. If he was there already, I'm putting this.
He didn't know, but
he was there. So once he was there already. There's no limafreya. It's a chalaisis now. Chalaisis right then because he was there. That's the Tanai. He was there already. Ukfar ba. When he was there already, no, it's what it is.
Why can't they simultaneously exist?
What?
Why can't you have a Tanai and Breaker?
Tanai, I spoke after shir. Tanai it's done right now, dependent on some future action. Breira is I don't know what it is until the future action takes place. I don't know what it is until that future action takes place. So now, so now, right now, so Rabbi Yehuda holds Ein Breira. Rav said this is more important than our Mishnah, and therefore, when our Mishnah said Yesh Breira, it's not correct. Lesser Lemas Nisan. We don't go according to the Mishnah. We go according to what the Brisa. We don't go according to the Mishnah. We're going according to the Brisa. Says the Gemara. Adarabba. Lesser L'Dayay Mas Nisan. Guys. What is more authoritative, a Mishnah or a Brisa? Clearly a Mishnah, right? Brisa, guys, is lashon of bar. You know what bar means? Outside. It was outside the Mishnayos. In other words, when Rabbi wrote the Torah Shabbat, he was medayik. Clearly, he used all his money to get all the reciters of Brises and to put it all together. So he got the ones he left out are called Brises, but they're outside. So you have a choice between Ayah's Brisa and a Mishnah. It's much more authoritative. So why would Rav go ahead and say what? That the Bryce is more authoritative than the Mishnah? Doesn't make any sense. It goes against logic. So now he says no. He says the following. He says that no, that lesser l'dayay must be son. Our Mishnah takes prominence, and Rabbi Yehuda holds a breira. Says we're loy to say that. In other words, fellas, listen, watch me. We're going to see another locale that Rabbi Yehuda holds ein breira. So since he held Ein Breira over there, it must be the Brisa is more prominent than the Mishnah, because our Mishnah says Yesh Breira. But if you have like 2 against 1, in this situation, in other words, we're going to see Rabbi Yehuda's sheet in another locale, the Mela influences this locale to say that Ayo's din is more correct. Where is that? Very, very, very famous Gemara. Very famous Gemara. Okay, guys, listen to this. It's Erev Shabbos. You want some wine. The wine is tevel. If you had kalim, you would go ahead and separate the wine. You would take off truma gedola. You would take off ma'aser rishon, and then give it to the Levi. You would take off ma'aser sheni. Take money. Be machal. You take care of everything. The problem is it's late, and you don't have what? You don't have any kalim. So can you do the following? I got a big jug, and I'll say, and this jug, I'm going to give 2 loigin of this jug is going to be Truma Gedola. A 10th of the jug will be Ma'aser Rishon. A 9th of the jug will be Ma'aser Sheni, the 10th of a 10th, right? And the Ma'aser Sheni, I'll then take and be Machal on the money. And now, in this jug is Truma. In this jug is Ma'aser Rishon. So what? Where's the Breira come in? If you say you can do this, you drink to your heart's delight. And when you leave 2 loigin, what do you say? It's hovra hadavar lemafreya. Retroactively, it's clear that those 2 loigin, that was the truma that I separated the Erev Shabbos. And the 10th of the whole jug was the Ma'aser Rishon I separated Shabbos. Ma'aser Sheni you don't have to worry about because you're going to be machal that on money anyway. So if you hold you can do it, yesh breira. If you hold you can't do it, ain't breira. Guess what Rabbi Yehuda holds? You can't do it. Since you can't do it, it must be is correct. And in Breira, and our mission that says Yesh Breira is incorrect. You held, guys? You held? Okay. Says the Nan, it's really a Bryce. The Tanya, Halakeach Yayim Ben Akutim. The Kutim, they don't take off Trumas Amaisa. So you put, this is what they were glazer. It's time we can't buy from Kutim. This is where they made the Gezerah. Okay? So now, Halakeach Yayim Ben Akutim, Oima, you say Shnei Loigim Shani Asur Lahafish. Hari Hain Truma, 2 Loigim that in the future I will separate. The Truma, Asara, 10th of the barrels, Ma'aser Rishon, Tisha, the remaining 9 is Ma'aser Sheni, Umechal, you take the Ma'aser Sheni, and you don't even have to wait to get it. You can say that Kedusha should be on these coins. V'shoysim you drink immediately, Divrei Meya. So what does Reb Meya hold, guys? Yesh Breira. Reb Yehuda, Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon, Oisrin. They all hold its Asa. Why do they hold its Asa? Because they ain't Breira. So Memela, what did Rav say? Ayah is correct, and our Mishnah is not correct. Are there any questions? Where geschmack? Where geschmack?
We answered that up in other places that it's not.
Shh. Don't jump the gun. Ula Amar. I only want to hear jokes from that time.
Sorry, I really apologize.
Ula Amar. Lesser le'ayoy mimasnisan. Ula says what? Guys, Ula says the Mishnah takes prominence. Why does Ula have to answer up? He has to answer up the brisa from wine. He has to answer the brisa from wine, right? Velahadik Tani Reb Yehuda of Reb Yosef Reb Shimon Eisrin, Mashma Ein Breira, Ula Zuze Katani, or Zuge Katani. Fellas, look at line number 3. Look at the line number 3. End of the line. Divrei Reb Meir, Kama, Reb Yehuda, Reb Yosef, Reb Shimon Eisrin. How about if I read it this way? Divrei Reb Meir, Viv Reb Yehuda, Kama, Reb Yosef, Reb Shimon Eisrin. So if you read it that way, then Reb Yehuda allows you to go ahead and separate. Obviously, you must hold what? Yesh Breira. And therefore, our Mishnah takes prominence over Ayah. It's just a matter of the way you read it. Says the Gemara. Let's see it inside. Ula Zuzah Katani. Divrei Reb Meir v'Rebbe Yehuda. What a vav, right? Divrei Reb Meir v'Rebbe Yehuda. They both hold Yesh Breira. Reb Yosef Shimon Eisrin. Reb Yosef Shimon hold it Tzasa. So right now we had a kasha on Reb Yehuda. What does he hold? Ein Breira or Yesh Breira. Ayah wanted to say he tainas Ein Breira. Our Mishnah wanted to say tiny says Yesh Breira. We have machloikas between Rav and Ula. Gedolei Amoraim. Who takes prominence? According to Rav, Ayah takes prominence, and he reads the brisa by Shemi by wine. He reads it as Divrei Reb Meir, Kama, and then the other 3, Reb Yosef, Reb Yehuda, and Reb Shimon. And like Ula, no, you read it Divrei Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, and he holds Yesh Breira, and our Mishnah is more important. That's what we're holding right now. Now, clearly from the Mishnah by the wine, Reb Yosef says Ein Breira. He doesn't allow you to go ahead and be mafish. He holds Ein Breira. Okay? Now we're going to attack that Nakuda. Okay, it's outside Yediyah. Okay? There are certain women or certain men, but in this case women, who have to bring birds as karbanos. We had it in the sugya. You do the shlichus, you throw it in the pushka, and then you can go ahead and eat at night. You can go ahead and eat the kachim because you can go ahead and separate, right? The best to make sure they separate what? The birds. Now, the birds are 2. One's a chatas and one's an oila. One's a chatas and one's an oila. So what you do is one of 2 things. You would buy 2 birds, or you'd put money for the 2 birds, and the Kohanim would take care of it. Good? Now, let's say you have 2 women, they need 4 birds. Good? They bring the 4 birds to the Kohen, and you bring it. Now, one's a chatas and one's an oila. If it's a chatas, the whole avoid is done below the red line in the mizbeach, below the chatas sikra. If it's an oila, everything is done above. And the other halach is about you burn the whole thing, or the oila sa'oifi, chatas, you burn the oila sa'oifi, eats the chatas sa'oif. Now, you go ahead, give it to the kohen. You give him 4 birds. He's going to bring 4 birds. The halacha is both women are now good. 1 second. Did they tell the kohen who they're bringing it for? No.
They did not see
Hash, just move a little bit. So the other way. Did he go ahead? Did the woman tell the kohen who to bring it for? The halacha is you have to bring an animal or birds for the owner. You have to bring it for the same owner. If you don't bring it, it doesn't work. By chatas, it's possible completely. By oila, it's good, but it doesn't count, right? So there's one breira over there, right? There's one breira. When he brings it, it's for that one. It was for this particular woman. And there's a second breira. Which one was an oila? Which one's a chatas? It wasn't designated. So we say whichever one he brought is for the chatas is for this woman, and the other one the chatas is for this woman, and the one with the oila is this woman. You got a lot of breira going on over there. So if Rabbi Yossi holds it's good, what do you see? He holds yesh breira. But you got a problem, because he said by the wine, no good. Got it? Got it. Let's see it inside. Says the Gemara.
a little Mishnah in Kenan.
No, this is the easy Mishnah in Kenan. The third parak is the hot parak in Kenan. But you're an expert at it. What?
From the Udo, you move the dot. Say three. Say we said that
Put the book on the other one.
So what you say?
He said Zugos, so.
He said Zugos. He said Zugos. He didn't say hat trick.
It was hat
It was three. It was right. Three. It was three of a kind, and he made it. And he made it. He made two pairs.
No, but Zugo is his parent. That's his cat. That's not what the Gerson was. He's saying let's make it Zugo.
No. Zuza Katani. That was the Gersa. Katani. That's the Gersa. Mandy, you got the math right. You just got to fit it in the Gemara. It says Katani. Okay, you listen. B'ez Hashem, you can you go to Shemayim. You make some Agosh changes. Right now, we're going to stay with this. Okay. Right now, we're staying with this. Okay. Says the Gemara Vayter. Okay.
Uncle Lee's talking in tongues.
Uncle Elliot's
channeling.
Uncle Elliot's saying, well, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Says the Gemara. The Savar Rabbi Yossi ain't Breira. Does Rabbi Yossi hold ain't Breira, meaning you can't go ahead and separate the wine? But Tanan, and this is a Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Shtei Noshim Shalachu Es Kineim Be'iruv. Two women bought the Kineim, two baskets, 4 birds together. Oishenasnu Demehem, change the gersa. Oishenasnu Demehem L'Koyen, they gave the word to the Koyen. Eza Shietza Koyen Yaakov Oila, Eza Shietza Yaakov Chatas. You know, whichever one, that's Breira. Whichever one he's doing, that's Breira. Maraba Hasam Kishehisnu. Over there, it's not Breira. Over there, they made a condition between themselves. Right? Rashi. Hasam Kishehisnu, the first wide line. Hanashim Beineim. They said what? Shekol mi sheyakriv hakoyin lishma yishala. Whatever what the koyin does in your name should be for her. In other words, there's no Breira over here. They made a condition. Whichever one the kohen brings to me is mine. Whatever he brings to you is yours. We don't say his action shows who it was. They conditionally made the condition. That's the difference between condition and Breira. By Breira, it's the action that takes place later that defines what they meant. By the condition, they made the condition, and then just whatever he made the condition. Whatever he brings, this one is for you, Harriet. This one is for you, Sheila. I mean, that's so therefore Enochnami. Rabbi Yossi holds ein Breira, and therefore by the wine you cannot go ahead and drink the wine. Over here, why does it work? Because they made a condition. This will be for you, and this will be for you.
By hidden that we said that Breira would work, right?
No,
because it needs to be the shmol.
It doesn't work like it.
Because it
No, it doesn't work because ein Breira.
By carbon, you don't have to have kavanah when being perfect.
The kohen, yeah. So I'm saying, if you hold that what's the kavanah? I'm bringing this to Shem Chatas. Which one? It was Hovel and Afrayed. It was for this one. He's bringing the Shem Chatas. The actions of Shem Chatas. He's going to be below the Chutta Sikra. You know it's a bird. You know it's not for Noila. Okay, very good. So what's the Chiddush? Guys, what's the Chiddush? In other words, condition is Pashat. So what's the Mishnah telling me? It says the Kamashimon Kid Rav Chisda. The Chiddush is like Rav Chisda. Dam Rav Chisda, Ein HaKinim is Parashos. Kinim cannot go ahead and say which is the oila, which is the chatas. Ela ibel kichas bailim. At the time of the bailim buy it, they designate it. Oibasias kayin, or the performance of the kayin. So, in other words, if these women bought it, they would say this is a chatas, this is an oila, right? That's called a kain as the sparshos. That's explained. Or the only other, in other words, there's only 2 times you can designate: the time you purchase it, or the kohen b'shasi brings it. So over here, you see that what? It's the kohen b'shasi brings it. That's the misparish for who? That's the chiddush. It's not a breira to get chiddush because it's not speaking about breira. The chiddush is that the kohen at the time of the actual bringing of it can go ahead and say who's for. That this is a chatas, this is an oila. No, in other words, one's a chatas, one's an oila. Different bird. Fred the Gemara. The akati sav Rabbi Yossi ein breira. Does Rabbi Yossi still hold ein breira? I'll show you. He holds a breira. Okay, let's get this case. You have an Amma Oretz who sees a chaver going to the market, and he's going to buy produce from another Amma Oretz. Good? What's the halacha if you buy produce from an Amma Oretz? You have to take off the mai. It's called the mai. It's called the mai. Good. The Aretz says, "Oh, you go into the market? Do me a favor. Pick me up 2 pounds of carrots, whatever. Pick me up some stuff. No problem." He goes. He picks up the stuff. Does he have to take off Maisa, the mai, before he gives it to Amoritz or not? What is it contingent upon? Fellas, when he did it, did he buy the whole carrots for himself? And now when he gives it, right, it's coming from him. And therefore, a chazaka, that a chava will not let something out of his hands unless it's what it is upgeshet? Or do we say no? He's just giving, he never was kind it. He never bought it. He bought it for Amaretz, but it never was his. And therefore, you don't have to take off myself. So now, where's the braver Shiloh over here? If you say that like the first sad, that he has to take off Maisa, that means that he bought the whole thing and totally was his. But if you hold that he doesn't, because you're holding a brera. It's Hubra Dovla Mafreya when he bought this, that this was the chelik for the Amaretz, and it was never mine, and therefore it was never a chiyah to take off the mine.
Like the wine.
So if Rabbi Yossi holds that you do not have to remove any of the produce, it must be holds yesh brera, and that's going to be a question over here. Says Gemara Batanya, Amaretz Shamal Chaver, and Amaretz tells the Chaver, Kachli aguda achas shel yerek, buy me a bundle of vegetables, or gluska achas, buy me a loaf of bread. Ain't it tzarich la'aser? He doesn't have to take off Maisa, divrei Rabbi Yossi. You know why he doesn't have to take off Maisa? Because we're going to say when he gives it to Amaretz, Huvra hadavel mafreya, that it never was his. If it never was mine, I have no chiyuv to go ahead and take it off. Again, remember, only if I own it and I'm reselling it to the Amaretz. If I own it, we have a chazaka that a chava will not let something underneath from his hand unless it's like if they ever see the mishal. Because we know that the Amaretz is not going to go ahead and take it off. So how can I sell something to the Amaretz and know that he's not going to separate from Maisa? But if I don't own it, I'm not selling him anything. The only way to not owning it is brera. I just bought a bunch of vegetables. So and they mix together. Which are mine and which are his? Whatever I give to him, it's Huvra Adav Lameva. These were his all along. And Memela, I have no chiyuv to take off Maisa. So if Yossi says you don't have to take off Maisa right then and there, you have your kasha. And how come by the wine he holds it's no good? Guys, got it? What do you mean? If even means I own something, how can I sell something that's mine? In this case over here. It says, no, Eipach. Switch it around. Guess what? The Chachamim say you don't have to take off Maisa. Rabbi Yossi says you have to take off Maisa because you don't hold the Brera. So now, Rabbi Yossi's been no Brera. Tashma. Ha'omer. Maisa sheyeshli bebeisi. The Maisa sheni that I have in my house. Nechulol al sela shetale biyadi min hakis. It should be chal on the money that I'm going to bring out of my wallet. Rabbi Yossi, I remember mechulol. Rabbi Yossi says it's mechulol. Now, you have the money, which it's not clear yet which money in your wallet it's being chal on. So that is the case of Breira, and yet Rabbi says it's mechulol. Says the Gemara, the same teretz, Eipach. Says my Eipach. Rabbi Yossi Amalai mechilel. Rabbi says it's not mechalel because there's no Breira. Now, let's go over the cheshbon over here. I had Rabbi Yossi saying, "Ain Breira, buy wine." Yeah, by the wine. Shnei loigin, Maisa. No, says Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon, Ain Breira. I now have two brises. One by Demai, and one by Maisa Sheni, where Rabbi Yossi apparently holds Yesh Breira. So what did we do? We switched around the latter two to go ahead and substantiate the one. Well, I know I switched around the first one and substantiate the other two. Why don't I say he holds Taka holds Breira, and by the barrel of wine, Taka would be Truma, it would be Maisa. Why'd you opt to go ahead? You worked so hard to go ahead, I'll shtin, right? The suit, you made a little bit of fit, you made it work. Why do you switch two versus one? Switch to one. Say he holds a Breira and five Tekadesik. Everything will be good. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. Well, my chaz is the afkas tarti mekami chada, epichada mekami tarti. Says the Gemara, havada ibcha. Vada, you have to switch around because he holds an ain breira. In other words, I'm going to bring you clear proof that Rabbi Yossi holds ain breira, and therefore you have to learn the other two that said yesh breira are incorrect. The Ma'aser Sheni and the Mai were not right. The Ktani Seifa, who moida Rabbi Yossi, but oimer Ma'aser sheyesh li b'toich beisi. Rabbi Yossi's moida, the Ma'aser that I have in my house, yemechol al selach hadasha shetala biyadi min hakis. Shemechal on the new coin that I have coming out of my kiss. Shechilo. Now he's moida that it works. Now, when he says in the latter case it works, it must be in the first case it doesn't work. And why doesn't it work in the first case? Because ain't breira. If he had to switch around the other two for breira. This isn't breira because there's only one coin. Guys, Benji's asking why it's not breira. The answer is because in this case there's only one coin. What do you mean new coin? What's a new coin? Old coin doesn't make a difference. If you have more than one coin, you got a breira problem. The answer is you only have one coin. Since you only have one coin, that's why it works. So, guys, what's the teretz? Since he says, and Rabbi Yossi's moida in the latter case that it is good, it must be when it says moida in this case that it is good, it must be in the previous case it's not good. Why is it not in the previous case? You have more than one coin, because that's a case of breira. So in Mela, since he holds here, Ein Mecholol, he holds Ein Breira. Since he holds Ein Breira, it must be the brisa by the wine was the correct brisa. And by the Mai and by Ma'aser Sheni was incorrect, and therefore we switched those two around by Ma'aser Sheni and the Mai to make it what? There's no din of Ma'aser. Fred the Gemara. Ide ekatarti tlas. It's just fear the Gemara. Hai sela chadash echidami. Ide ekatarti tlas the eshbreira hainu kamaisa. If you tell me you have more than one or two coins or three coins, it's the same thing. Ela deleka ela chad. You only have one coin. Now, question: if you only have one coin, my tale. What does tala mean? Tala means that what? Right? If there's only one, it has to come up. Tala is mashma, there's a choice of what comes up. If there's only one, that's the only one's coming up. Right? Like that's what happened. In 1985, there was a the lottery of the NBA. There was a lot of ping pong balls in it to decide. I think they all said New York Knicks on them because they wanted Patrick Ewing to go to the Knicks. That was a big sash, but didn't help. Didn't help. We didn't win. Anyway,
you won the lottery in '67, Rabbi, out of a hat.
You were alive. Where were you? You weren't Havamina. Your father was a kid. What do you know?
I heard a rumor.
67. There was a lottery.
Yeah, because you went to the Braves originally, and then he violated some college things that they made a lot.
I'm talking about basketball. You're talking about Tom Seaver.
You're still in the Shloshim.
No, stop. You're making it cholent. I'm not. Be quiet. I'm talking about the Knicks. You're bringing in Seaver.
There's some showing not all lotteries.
Signed out of USC with the Braves illegally, right. And then that's why they voided it. They made up between three teams, and the Mets won. That's okay. Fight that.
The not all lotteries were bad.
Again, enough of your Torah. Enough. You don't hear him. I'll mute you forever. Now says the Gemara. So my tala, there's only one. What's tala? I did 20 Reisha tala, 20 Sefer Nami tala. Okay. Now, so let's go over. Let's see what we saw so far tonight, guys. Good. Let's go over Chaz River. It's been a very, very easy, not easy daf, but involved daf. We began the share by saying that Yehuda holds breira by this way, that way. You come this way, that way. Aye said it's not correct. Aye said it's not correct because he holds ain breira. The Rav said Aye is correct. He holds ain breira, right? We said, why does Rav to say that more than that? So why does he choose that more than the other? Because he found another place that he held what? That he found another place that he said the Chacham comes that it must be that he holds what? That he was there already, and therefore it was not Breira, because another case it won't be because it was Breira. So that was Rav according to Ayoy. According to Ula. Ula says that no. He says Rabbi Yehuda, the Mishnah is correct. Rabbi Yehuda holds a breira. You had a brisa of wine, and wine clearly it was a 3 against 1. Rabbi Meir holding a breira. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon not holding a breira. So Ula said, don't read it as 1 and 3. Read it as 2 and 2. Read it as Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi both hold what of breira. The Meir and Rabbi Yossi could be the time of the Mishnah, and Ayah is not correct. We then challenged Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi clearly stated that what? Like according to most people, Rabbi Yossi clearly stated that what? That ain breira. He clearly stated ain breira. We asked the kasha from Keenan. With Mashma Keenan, he holds a yesh breira. We answered with made a condition among themselves, the woman, and it wasn't a breira to Shaila. We then asked from what? From Demai. We said we switched that around. We then asked from Maisa Sheni, and we switched that around. We asked why we so bent on making hold ain breira, because he has a price of a Maisa Sheni, but taking money out of your pocket, if you have a few coins, it doesn't work, and one coin it does work. So the Mela, since it doesn't work by the few coins, he doesn't hold a breira, and that's where we're holding right now. Good. Now, says the Gemara. Man haitana, who's the Tana? The afilu b'derabbanon lest they breira. When it comes to the Rabbanon, does not hold the breira. Even like Erev, guys. In other words, Erev Tchum is the Rabbanon who would not hold the breira. Now, no one in our Mishnah said that. Everyone said it's good. The Tanya, Amal Chamishi, say to 5 people, Hareini ma'arav al eizemichem she'ertza. I'll make an Erev on one of you, the one that I want to make it on. Ritzisi yelech, le ritzisi lelech. You want to go, go. If you want to go, you don't go. Rotzim mibayyoim, eruvi erev. If they go mibayyoim, eruvi erev. Mishachashecha, however, if he chooses after dark who it should be, then what? It's not. In other words, if he chooses that in a shemashis is going to be this guy, then it doesn't work. Mibayyoim will be the guy. Mishachashecha ain't eruvi erev. So ishtik v'layam le'midi. So he said, so Rav Nachman was quiet and he didn't say anything. He was quiet and it didn't say anything. 1 second. Then Rabbi Yehuda, guys, by Ayoy was Erev. And Ayoy said, Ein Breira. So why did Rav Nachman go and say, I'll tell Rav who it was. The Tana Ayoy, by Erev Tchum, which is the Rabbanon. And Ayoy said what? Ein Breira. So why was Rav Nachman ishtik? Why did he remain silent? He says, no, who Rav Nachman did not hear this. But you took away all the Tanoim in the world. What are you talking about? Right? Tanoihi, it's a machlokes Tanoim. The Tanya. Harini ma'arav l'shabbasa shel kol hashana. Ritzisi elech le'ritzisi lo'elech. I'm making an Erev for all the Shabbosas over the year. If I go, it'll be an Erev. If I don't go, it won't be an Erev. Right? If he goes during the day, then it's a good Erev. We don't say when he gets there in the evening that it's Huva Double of Afreya, that's where it was. Rav Shimon, Eruvi Erev, Rav Chama, Eruvi Erev. So you have machlokes. Like Rav Shimon, Eruvi Erev, it's a good Erev. That's going to be a good kasha, right? Because Rav Shimon held Ein Breira by the wine. So Rav Shimon's going to be shred, right? Guys, Rav Shimon says it's good Erev after nightfall. Why? Because we say that after nightfall, it's Huvra Double Mafreya, which way you want it, right? So in other words, said Rabbi Yosef, it's a machlokes Tanoim. Like Rav Shimon, by the Rabbanon we hold yesh breira. Like the Chachamim we hold ein breira. Fred the Gemara, kasha Rav Shimon ad Rav Shimon. Kasha. Well, guys, what does it say over here? It says Rav Shimon. If you show up after dark, we'll say retroactively that the Erev was for this guy, right? Or this direction. Good? What did Reb Shimon say about the wine? Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda were okay. Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon. Now, you can't. This is the last guy. There's no way you can go ahead. You can't fudge anything over here, Mendy, right? This is the last guy in the Torah. If he doesn't hold him, then right, the whole thing doesn't work. Good? So clearly, Reb Shimon, you can't go ahead. Right. So you got a kasha, guys. You have a kasha of Shimon from Erev to wine. You got a kasha. Says switch it around. The Chachamim say it's a good Erev, and Rav Shimon says it's not a good Erev. It's amazing how they couldn't get Breira right. How many switches are we making over here, right? So it's really wild. Says my kasha, a good teretz. Still Makilas Rav Shimon Breira b'deraisa. Avu b'derabbanan Islay. Guys, where do we guys look at me. Where did we hear of Shimon hold ein breira? By being mafresh, truma, maisa, correct? Is taking truma, maisa for wine deraisa derabbanan. It's the Raisa. It's the Raisa. Where do we heard Rav Shimon say Yesh Breira? If you by Tchumim. By Tchumim is the Rabbanon. So why do you have to be Mapich Rav Shimon? I got a Mishkishmak Teretz, right? Don't be Mishtabish the Raisa. Don't corrupt the Raisa. I got a very good Teretz. What's my Teretz? When does Rav Shimon hold the Breira? That's by the Rabbanon here, Tchumim. When doesn't Rav Shimon hold? Right? That's a Daraisa. So what's the problem with that teretz? And the Gemara, so Rabbi Yosef, man, the Islay Brei relation with the Raisa Rabbanon is Islay. Notice it, right? Well, man, the Leslay Brei relation with the Raisa relation with the Raisa Leslay. In other words, if you hold the Brei, it's across the board. If you don't hold the Brei, it's not across the board. And I believe Maskana. I think that we hold. No, Apach. We switched. We ended up Apach. I think by we take a hold by Eruv. We do hold the Breira by Eruv. We don't hold many other places, but we do hold it by Breira by Eruv. We do hold the Rabban and the Raisa. We take a hold of the distinction. Okay, it's okay. That's a wake up call. Guys, you all good? Let me speak to my majority. Sorry, I'm running this here. Guys, are we all good? Penny, you look like.
Steven's really him.
Yeah, it's really Penny. He said Yankees are winning, losing.
I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, you're learning Torah. You don't care.
Right. We're in cheer.
Middle of cheer.
Who what?
Anyway. Weiter. Okay, whoever's Rabbi Amar Shiny Hassam. Rabbi says that it's nothing to do with Breira. Shiny Hassam, it's different over there. Meaning Rabbi Yehuda holds of Breira, guys. Rabbi Yehuda holds of Breira. Do you know why the wine it doesn't work? Because he says Rashis the Goncha, the first of your dagon. To have a first, you have to have Shirayim. You have to separate. When you in the barrel separated it, you didn't separate it. It remained in the barrel. You didn't separate it. Therefore, you assume that Rabbi Shimon held the reason why it wasn't good, the separation of the Truma, is because he holds Ein Breira. He taka holds Yesh Breira. Where's the Rayos Yesh Breira? You could set up, by Chumim, you could set it up. So why by the barrel did not hold it's good? Mamish guy's out of left field. Nothing to do with Breira. There's a nuance, if you will, by truma. When you separate the truma, you have to have a hecker of separation. Here's your truma. Here's your chulin. But you don't have it because it's mixed together in a barrel. Since he holds that, that's why it didn't work. But not because of Breira, because there was no separation. Totally different pshat. Mamish, a whole different Gemara. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Amar, shiny hasam. It's different by the barrel. Why? To be in rachis, you need rachis. Sheshirel nikarin. Rachis the guncha. You need a first that the remnants that are recognizable, and you don't have that. You have two remnants of tevel. Makes a condition. We don't need this. We need the following. But Tanan, this is what we need. Trumas hakri hazeh u'maisoisa b'seichai. The truma is in this kri, and maisos are inside of it. The trumas maisa zeh b'seichai. Rav Shimon Aima kara Hashem. Give me a second. Trumas maisa zeh b'seichai. Rav Shimon Aima kara Hashem shiny. So why? So l'chayra you have a problem. If you're telling me that rachis the goncha you need a separation, why could you say in the middle of the kri that the trumas and ma'aser inside of it? Trumas hakri hazeh u'ma'aser b'seichai u'trumas ma'aser zeh b'seichai. Right? Rav Shimon Aimek kara Hashem. Right? Rav Shimon says it's good. I l'chayra is no separation. You're telling me you need rachis, you need a separation, correct? So l'chayra you don't have a separation. How could Rav Shimon say it's good? And for the Gemara, shani hasam deka svivav. When you say b'seichai, it's like you have a separation. I know exactly where the truma is. Where is it? In the middle. So the outside is considered separation, and the truma is in the middle. What about the wine? It's hamish. You don't have a separation. So very geshmak. Okay, so now we have a kasha, guys. Right? What's a kasha? Rav Shimon. It's amazing. The Gemara went periodically. First we attacked Rabbi Yehuda, then we attacked Rabbi Yosi, and now we're attacking Rav Shimon. You're holding Rav Shimon holds a Breira because he allows you to go ahead and make a Erev. If you go after dark, retroactively, it's going to be an Erev because he holds a Breira. How can he hold a Breira if he holds you can't separate the Truma and the barrel? Says the Gemara, one's the Raisa, one's the Rabbanan. Right? Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold that chilik. That's one distinction. Second teretz, a very geshmaka teretz, he holds a Breira. What about the barrel? You need ratius, you need separation, you don't have it. Fred the Baya Kasha, you see by you can call inside. That's separation because you know exactly where it is. Beautiful. One more teretz, guys. Fibayasema, Kidiktani Taima, Amulal Reb Meir said, guys, it's good, correct? Reb Meir said, he was the first one that he holds yesh breira, correct? He holds a separate. So they said to Reb Meir, aren't you scared maybe the barrel's going to break? In other words, no, you never. What do we do? You need a leftover to say, oh, those are my 2 loigin of truma. That's my 10th of my sarishan. You need stuff left over. What happens? You drink to the height, then the barrel breaks. And what do you have? So nothing to do with prayer. Shem yibaka anoid. V'nimsa zeh shoyset fallen mafreya. And you'll find that this person was drinking tevel retroactively. So Amar Lahem said Reb Meir to them, I'm not worried. When it breaks, it breaks. Good. So now we have a third teretz. You really holds what? Ain breira. And that's why you can make yesh breira. Really holds yesh breira. And therefore you can make the Erev nighttime retroactively. Good. Why by the barrel? We have a few terutzim. The barrel's the raisa. The barrel's not racist. Or it may be the barrel will break. So you have 3 terutzim against Fataych Reb Shimon. 3 terutzim to Fataych Reb Shimon. Just to conclude the Gemara. I guess many's asking that Amei is Chayish Lemiyuta, so why don't we say it over here? I think Taisus asked it somewhere. Let's go weiter. I think Taisus asked Shikasha somewhere. Okay. Says the Gemara. Now, we have a conversation on record, yeah? What's the conversation? That they said the 3, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Yosi, they said to Reb Meir, aren't you worried, Shem Yibak Anoid? So what do you mean, racist? Racist what? You gave a teretz that he needs racist. It's obviously that's not the reason. He said Shem Yibak Anoid's the reason. So why are you giving a reason, a hypothetical reason, when we know what Rabbi Shimon said? Says the Gemara. What were we thinking before? The bein a racist Shireni Karim, my Ka'amale. What exactly did the Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Shimon say to Rabbi Meir? Says Nachi Kamale. This is what they said to him. Lidi don bein and racist Shireni Karim. We need a separation. We need you to recognize the racist, and therefore, since it's gemished, not. That's our reasoning. However, the didach, according to you, so obviously, you, Reb Meir, are not darshaning racist that it has to be separate. You're not darshaning that because you said it's good. We have a problem. Nothing to do with Breira. We have a problem that you need racist. You need a separation. We don't have a separation. But aren't you worried? Shem Yibaka Anoid? He says when it breaks, I'll worry about it. Okay.